Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Basically, there was 4 of us that started the group. We all pretty much found spinning in different ways, and we're self-taught. I showed up. I'm Audrey Matei, and this was Helen Anderson, and Midge Johnson, and Diane Fulton. And we were the original group for the Dyed-in-the-Wool Spinners. Our meetings were, we'd get together and kind of compare our spinning projects and chat about this or that, or how our animals are doing, or basically the original members. We were very interested in starting from our animals, and we enjoyed seeing it from the land and a finished product.
Well, I am using a great wheel to spin some wool. This particular wheel is probably about 150, 160 years old. It's what they call a spindle wheel because it has a spindle instead of a bobbin and flyer like those. It's an older style wheel. The whole job of a spinning wheel is simply to put twist into a fiber, and that's what any kind of spinning wheel does. It's also called a walking wheel or a great wheel, and the reason why it's called a walking wheel is because you have to walk back and forth as you spin. And if you were to spin all day and keep moving, you could walk up to maybe 16 miles a day. You can spin wool, which is sheared off a sheep. Every year a sheep has to have a haircut. It doesn't shed like a dog or a cat. You could use silk, you could use cotton, dog hair, goat hair, which is called mohair, or you could use hair off of a special type of rabbit called Angora, which is really soft. Flax, which is a plant that you grow, and that can be used for spinning and making thread. So really you can use just about any kind of a fiber that you can get to stick together and put a twist into it and make it stay together. People have been spinning for a long time. Some of the first pictures of using a wheel were found in the tombs of Egypt. The type of wheel that Audrey's using is called a castle wheel or an upright wheel, and that's because it has all the working things on top. The ones most people are used to seeing, they have the small wheel here and then the bobbin and flyer off to the side. Those are called a Saxony or a traditional wheel. There's variations on that, and the only difference between all the wheels is just that somebody else had a different idea of how to do the same thing. There are different kinds of tools to get the wool ready for this. As I said, now this is how the wool looks like when I get it right off the sheep. So I'm going to just take and fluff it up, and what that does, it not only fluffs it up, makes it easier to work with, but then I can take out the little bits of hay and any of the dirt, sand and stuff will fall out as I'm working with it. These are cards, and you'd put it on here, and what this does is this fluffs it up so that you can make what's called a woolen yarn. It's a fluffy yarn that doesn't wear as well, but it's really warm. If I want to make something that's really strong, like for socks, then I might use something called a comb. And these are combs. And again, I'm going to take the wool off the sheep, and you load that in there. And what that does is now they're going to all be running the same way. They aren't quite as warm, but they will wear better, and it makes a tighter weave. And I'm going to pull that off, and it'll leave all the junk right in the short pieces, and the dirt will all stay in the teeth, and then I can spin that. Everybody has a different reason to do it. I originally went to a spinning meeting because I wanted to learn more about the wool to raise better sheep. And then I found a wheel, and away we go. It's very relaxing. You cannot be uptight and spin. Some people spin because they love to use different kinds of yarn, and you create a yarn, and you get to control the whole process from start to finish. What it's made out of, how thick it is, what colors it is. You get to control everything, and so it's a lot of fun.
It's relaxing. When I was going to work, you know, I mean, I would just, I was into graphic arts and, you know, a lot of deadlines and the stress, you know, it just got to me. And then I'd come home and I'd start spinning and I just felt better. And then the excitement of starting a project and actually finishing it. You know, and know that it started with my sheep and it ended with something that I could use, and it's a good feeling.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.